Good evening. This is All India Radio. I am Valsa Williams and with me is Prashant Kumar Sinha with the evening news. The headlines. Last rites of former Union Minister Ramvilas Paswan performed with full state honours in Patna. Export of essential agri-commodities increases by 43.4% during first half of current fiscal. In Jammu and Kashmir, 4 terrorists killed in 2 separate encounters in South Kashmir. Country's COVID-19 recovery rate improves to more than 85%. In IPL cricket, Kolkata Knight Riders beat Kings 11 Punjab by 2 runs. Match between Chennai Super Kings and Royal Challengers Bangalore underway in Dubai. And Igaswantek is the new French Open Women's Singles champion. As the nation fights the COVID-19 pandemic, we begin with a message of precaution to stay safe and protected by following these 3 simple steps. Wear a face mask, maintain 2 gaz ki duri for social distancing, and focus on hand and face hygiene. And now the news in detail. The last rites of former Union Minister Ramvilas Paswan were performed with full state honours at Janardhan Ghat on the banks of Ganga in Patna this afternoon. Chirag Paswan, the son of the departed leader, performed the last rites. The Guard of Honour was accorded by Jawans of the Army, Navy and Air Force at the venue of the funeral. The State Police also accorded Guard of Honour. Chief Minister Nitish Kumar, Deputy Chief Minister Sushil Kumar Modi, Union Minister Ravi Shankar Prasad, Union Ministers of State Nityanand Rai and Ashwini Kumar Chaube, leaders of different political parties and LJP supporters arrived to bid last adieu to their beloved leader. Earlier, thousands of people participated in the funeral procession of the departed leader. His supporters chanted slogans in support of their leader. Ramvilas Paswan, the iconic mass leader, will always be remembered for his reformatory decisions in politics and governance. Political pundits will remember him as a politician who had a unique kind of intuitive sense about the verdict of people. A report.
In 1977, the victory registered by him from Hajipur Lok Sabha constituency with a margin of 4,24,000 of votes was historic. In a governance, he played a significant role to change the perception of people. The turnaround of PNT to BSNL and the latest one weeding out crores of bogus ration cards across the country are remarkable reforms under his guidance. He almost completed the mission of One Nation, One Ration Card. Dharmendra Kumar Rai, AIR News, Patna.
The Union Ministry of Agriculture has said that the export of essential agri-commodities for the cumulative period of April to September 2020 has increased by 43.4% to over 53,626 crore rupees as compared to nearly 37,397 crore rupees in the same period last year. The ministry said major commodity groups which have recorded positive export growth during April to September 2020 as compared to April to September of 2019 are groundnut, refined sugar, wheat, basmati rice and non-basmati rice. It said India's agricultural export of essential agricultural commodities during September 2020 is 9,296 crore rupees against export of 5,114 crore rupees during September of 2019, showing an increase of 81.7%. In order to boost agri-exports, the government announced Agriculture Export Policy 2018, which inter alia provides for a cluster-based approach for export-centric farming of cash crops like fruit, vegetables and spices. The ministry said recently the government has also announced Agri-Infra Fund of 1 lakh crore rupees to improve the agri-business environment, which shall promote agri-exports in due course. In Bihar, 264 nominations have been rejected during the scrutiny held for the first phase in 71 assembly constituencies. A total of 1,354 nomination papers were submitted by candidates of different political parties and independents. The maximum number of nominations were rejected in R3 constituency in Gaya district. The returning officer RO declared 17 nominations invalid out of 28. The last date for withdrawal of nominations is the 12th of this month. Polling will be held on the 28th of October. Meanwhile, after a green signal from the Ministry of Home Affairs for open political meetings, all political parties have started their preparations. List of star campaigners are being finalized by parties. Tomorrow, BJP President JP Nadal will address a political rally in Gandhi Maidan at Gaya. The rally will be simultaneously webcast on virtual platforms of the BJP. The meeting of BJP's Central Election Committee is underway in New Delhi to discuss the name of party candidates for the ensuing assembly elections in Bihar. Prime Minister Narendra Modi, Union Minister Amit Shah, BJP President J.P. Nadda and other senior leaders are attending the meeting at the party headquarters.
In Uttar Pradesh, Chief Minister and senior BJP leader Yogi Adityanath has said his government strives for development and asked party workers to beware of the divisive politics being played by the opposition. He concluded a marathon 7-day virtual interaction with the party workers today in view of the by-polls on 7 assembly seats on the 3rd of November. He said that development will be the only plank of the party for the by-polls and even in all the coming polls. He discounted all the negativity being spread by the opposition and asked party workers not to pay heed to the misinformation and malicious campaign unleashed by the opposition and stick to the agenda of development. Minister of State for Personnel, Public Grievances and Pensions, Dr. Jitendra Singh has said that so far, interview for job has been abolished in 23 states and 8 union territories of India. He said this is a follow-up to the abolition of interview for Group B non-gazetted and Group C posts in the central government ever since 2016. Dr. Singh said in the past there had been complaints, grievances and allegations about marks in interview being manipulated to help certain favoured candidates. He said the abolition of interview and considering only the written test marks as merit for selection offers a level playing field to all the candidates.
Union Minister and BJP leader Dharmendra Pradhan has demanded repeal of the Odisha University Amendment Bill 2020, recently passed by the Odisha Legislative Assembly. Describing the bill as anomalous, Mr. Pradhan said in his letter to Union Education Minister Ramesh Pokhriyal Nishank that the bill is in complete contradiction to the Prime Minister's visionary National Education Policy 2020. Outlining the inconsistencies of the Odisha University Amendment Bill, Mr. Pradhan sought the personal intervention of the Union Education Minister in repealing the bill. The Ministry of Road Transport and Highways has issued a draft notification seeking comments and suggestions for amendment to the Central Motor Vehicle Rules 1989. This is for facilitating the issuance of International Driving Permit IDP for citizens whose IDP has expired while they are abroad. The ministry said it has come to its notice that in certain cases for the citizens who are travelling abroad and in a foreign country, the international driving permit gets expired and there is no mechanism for its renewal while abroad. The proposal is to amend the Central Motor Vehicles Rules 1989 to facilitate such citizens.
The Reserve Bank of India submitted to the Supreme Court that a loan moratorium exceeding 6 months might result in vitiating the overall credit discipline, which will have a debilitating impact on the process of credit creation in the economy. The RBI said in an affidavit in the loan moratorium case that a long moratorium period could impact credit behavior of borrowers and increase the risks of delinquencies post-resumption of scheduled payments. The banking regulator filed the affidavit in pursuance to the Apex Court's October 5th order, asking the Centre and the RBI to place on record the KV Kamath Committee recommendations on debt restructuring because of COVID-19 related stress on various sectors, as well as the notifications and circulars issued so far on loan moratorium. In Maharashtra, Republic TV's Chief Financial Officer CFO Shiva Subramaniam Sundaram did not appear before the Mumbai police today to record his statement in connection with the TRP manipulation racket, saying the channel has approached the Supreme Court in the case. The Crime Intelligence Unit, CIU, of the Mumbai Crime Branch had issued summons against Sundaram yesterday, and he had been asked to join the investigation today. However, a senior official said Sundaram did not appear before the probe team, saying the channel has approached the Supreme Court and that there will be a hearing on the matter within a week. However, Sam Balsara, Chairman and Managing Director of Madison World and Madison Communications, appeared before the crime branch today to record his statement. The CIU is investigating the fake television rating points TRP racket case. Besides Sundaram, the police had also summoned accountants of Marathi channels Fakt Marathi and Box Cinema and those of a couple of advertising agencies. 4 persons, including owners of Fakt Marathi and Box Cinema, had been arrested in the case on Thursday. Mumbai Police Commissioner Parambir Singh had claimed that 3 channels, including Republic TV, manipulated the TRPs. According to the police, the racket came to light when the Broadcast Audience Research Council, an organization which measures TRP, filed a complaint in this regard through Hansa Research Group Private Limited. This is All India Radio giving you the news. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on Twitter at AIR News Alerts. चलो मिलकर एक शुरुआत करें, चलो एक फैसला आज करें, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे, चलो एक इरादा करते हैं, चलो कुछ वादा करते हैं, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे.
In the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, 4 terrorists were killed in 2 separate encounters with security forces in South Kashmir today. According to police sources, joint teams of security forces launched cordon and search operations in Datura area in Pulwama district and Chinigam village in Kulgam district of South Kashmir today, following intelligence inputs about the presence of terrorists in these areas. As the joint teams encircled the suspected spots, the hiding terrorists fired upon them. The firing was retaliated to by the teams, triggering off encounters at both places, and 4 terrorists, 2 each at Chinigam and Datura villages, were gunned down. One of the slain terrorists is a Pakistani national. Incriminating material, arms and ammunition, including 2 AK rifles and 1 M4 rifle, were recovered from their possession. In yet another ceasefire violation, Pakistan Army troops initiated indiscriminate firing and heavy mortar shelling along the LOC in Mankote sector of Poonch district this morning. Defense PRO Colonel Davinder Anand said that the Indian Army troops retaliated befittingly. The exchange of fire continued for more than 4 hours. There are no reports of damage to property or loss of life.
In Jammu and Kashmir, Principal Secretary of Power Development Department Rohit Kansal today chaired a meeting with senior officers to review the preparedness of Power Development Department PDD with regard to power supply for the upcoming winter season in Jammu and Kashmir. The Principal Secretary was briefed about the action plan and its implementation during the upcoming winter season in both the divisions of Kashmir and Jammu and other preparations for the upcoming winter season. The meeting discussed various issues with regard to branch cutting of trees along transmission lines and power supply lines, buffer stock of transformers, tendering of transformers and workshops, upgradation and setting up of divisional control rooms. Speaking on the occasion, Mr. Kansal directed the concerned officers to maintain buffer stock of transformers for time-bound replacement of damaged equipment and subsequent reclaimable transformers and eventually adding them up to the buffer stock. He also set a deadline to repair and reclaim transformers so that the buffer stock of such transformers would be added besides the repairing of transformers in the normal course of time.
The government today said that the country's COVID-19 recovery rate has now reached 85.81%. In the past 24 hours, more than 82,000 patients have recovered. The Health Ministry said the total number of recoveries has reached over 59,88,000. The constantly increasing recoveries have ensured that the actual caseload of the country has reduced and currently comprises only 12.65% of the total number of positive cases. Presently, the total number of active cases in the country is at 8,83,000. In the past 24 hours, 73,272 new cases have been reported, taking the total number of positive cases in the country so far to over 69,79,000. The ministry said effective implementation of the centre's strategic and graded test, track, treat approach has led to a higher recovery rate and lower fatality rate. Currently, India's case fatality rate is at 1.54%, which is one of the lowest globally. In the past 24 hours, 926 deaths have been reported, taking the toll to 107,416. In Manipur, 2 persons expired due to COVID-19 positive in the past 24 hours, thus increasing the total fatality due to the pandemic in the state to 88. On the other hand, 282 people, including 27 personnel of the Central Armed Police Force, were confirmed as new COVID-19 positive cases in the past 24 hours in the state, taking the total count of positive cases so far in the state to 13,092. 444 persons were discharged in the past 24 hours in the state, and the recovery rate is at 78.71%. So far, Manipur has recorded total recovered and discharged cases of 10,306, while the number of active cases is 2,698.
In Nagaland, 61 people, including 46 traced contacts, 6 each from armed forces and returnees, and 3 frontline workers tested positive for COVID-19 today, taking the tally of positive cases in the state to 6,949. At the same time, 33 people have also recovered. So far, there are 1,232 active cases, of which 1,173 are asymptomatic, 46 cases are mild, 11 moderate cases, 1 with severe symptoms and 1 under ventilator. Meanwhile, a total of 5,635 people have recovered from the infection so far. The recovery rate of COVID-19 patients is now at 81.09%. Out of 23 COVID-19 infected patients registered deaths in the state, 12 deaths are due to coronavirus and 5 are due to comorbidities, while 6 are under investigation. At present, 172 positive cases are under home isolation, 328 are under facility quarantine, and 924 persons are under home quarantine. Health Minister S. Pangnu Pom, in a tweet, applauded all frontline workers for their relentless effort in the fight against the virus. In Assam, nearly 85% COVID-19 patients have recovered so far. 2,068 persons recovered in the state yesterday. So far, overall 1,62,000 persons have recovered, while nearly 30,000 active cases are reported. Meanwhile, Health Minister Himanta Biswa Sarma inaugurated cryogenic oxygen tanks at Guwahati Medical College and Hospital for the benefit of the patients undergoing treatment. In Odisha, the COVID-19 active caseload has further decreased to 28,246. Today, 3,404 patients were reported cured from the virus against a fresh addition of 2,854 patients. Meanwhile, the COVID-19 fatalities in the state have breached the 1,000 mark.
In a significant medical intervention towards saving lives from the clutches of COVID-19, the state has already initiated the doorstep delivery of favipiravir antiviral therapy. The decision is backgrounded on the fact that a majority of about 78% of asymptomatic and mildly symptomatic patients are in home isolation, who in turn need to be kept under the protective care of medical surveillance. Accordingly, the state government, intending to save home isolated patients from getting serious by administering favipiravir tablets, has increased the number of medical stores selling the antiviral from about 300 to more than 1,100 now. The antiviral is being administered to symptomatic patients with medical advice coupled with informed consent of the patient. Girish Chandra Das, Bhubaneswar.
Kerala reported the highest single surge in COVID-19 cases so far, as it confirmed 11,755 new cases today. More from our correspondent.
Chief Minister Pinarayi Vijayan said that the COVID spread in the state is in its spike. October and November month is very crucial as the test positivity rate is remaining high. He urged the public to strictly follow the COVID protocol and lend full support to the health department. Mr. Vijayan said that the coordinated efforts of the state health department had helped to keep the fatality rate very low in the state. Meanwhile, 7,570 persons recovered from the disease today. 23 deaths were also confirmed. Mayusha, AR News, Thiruvananthapuram.
Sikkim's tourism industry resumed operations from today after a halt of around 7 months due to COVID-19. Tourism is a key contributor to the state's economy, and around 15% of the state's population depends on the sector for livelihood, either directly or indirectly. For safety against COVID-19, reopening of tourism has been planned in a phased manner with broad objectives of rebuilding the image of the state as a safe destination with an efficient tourist health safety management system. This includes restructuring industry operations with digital intervention in order to ensure effective tourist monitoring mechanisms and database management. A report.
The first phase of tourism reopening in Sikkim will be considered for domestic tourists and foreign nationals residing in India. Tourists have been advised to preferably possess a valid COVID-19 negative certificate issued within 72 hours prior to date of arrival in Sikkim. They are required to book services only from impaneled service providers and need to fill in details in forms available on the Tourism Department's website, download travel cards and enter relevant details. These cards will have to be shown at entry points and should be updated by tourists themselves or service providers. The travel card will have to be carried at all times. Tourists may be fined for violating social distancing, mask wearing and other norms. With Saikat Sarkar, Parijat Sharma from Gangtok for AIR.
The Indian swimming fraternity has welcomed the decision to reopen swimming pools across the country. Yesterday, the Minister of Youth Affairs and Sports had issued the Standard Operating Procedures (SOPs) outlining use of swimming pools for competitive swimmers. Earlier, the Union Health Ministry in its order had allowed for the reopening of swimming pools except for those in containment zones. Veer Dhawal Khade, one of 6 Indian swimmers who has achieved the Olympic qualification B mark and who participated in the 2008 Olympics, is very happy about the decision and termed it an excellent one. Dronacharya awardee coach Nihar Amin has said the resumption of training is a positive step in this regard. He said all our swimmers have suffered a setback due to the pandemic and rescheduling of the Olympics will surely help them get back to form. According to the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports, the Swimming Federation of India too has welcomed the decision and the SOPs created for the resumption of swimming. Secretary General Monal Choksi said he is very happy that the government has permitted the resumption of competitive swimming.
In the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, a week-long Jan Andolan campaign for COVID-19 was launched by the District Legal Services Authority (DLSA) at Ganderbal today. On the occasion, DLSA Chairman Muhammad Yusufwani emphasized on unlocking with precautions of COVID-19 appropriate behavior. The 3 key messages of COVID-19 appropriate behavior, like use of face masks, maintaining 2 gaz ki duri and frequent hand washing with proper sanitization, are being disseminated by way of banners and posters at the main market in Bihama, Ganderbal. Moreover, the COVID-19 pledge was also taken by the general masses at Bihama Chowk in the district. Chief Economic Advisor, Government of India, Dr. K. Subramaniam, appeals to people to wear a mask and follow social distancing norms.
The Honorable Prime Minister has started a movement to remain healthy and safe and thereby conquer Corona. For that, I would humbly request you to follow 3 things diligently. First, wear your mask with the nose fully covered whenever you go out. Second, maintain social distance of at least 6 feet. And finally, maintain hygiene by washing your hands frequently.
Head of Neurosciences Department of All India Institute of Medical Sciences, New Delhi, Dr. Padma Srivastav says that masking, sanitization and distancing is the need of the hour if we have to fight this pandemic. Dr. Srivastav told AIR News that people have to be more careful in view of the festival season.
The need of the hour right now to combat the COVID pandemic is what has been promulgated by our Honorable Prime Minister, Sri Narendra Modi ji. So eloquently said that actually the vaccine that we have right now is MSD, masking, sanitization and distancing.
You are listening to the evening news on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Last rites of former Union Minister Ramvilas Paswan performed with full state honours in Patna. Export of essential agri-commodities increases by 43.4% during the first half of the current fiscal. In Jammu and Kashmir, 4 terrorists killed in 2 separate encounters in South Kashmir. Country's COVID-19 recovery rate improves to more than 85%. In IPL cricket, Kolkata Knight Riders beat Kings 11 Punjab by 2 runs. Match between Chennai Super Kings and Royal Challengers Bangalore underway in Dubai. And Igaswantek is the new French Open Women's Singles Champion. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts.
3 steps to stay protected and stay safe from COVID-19. Wear face mask, 2 gaz ki duri to maintain social distancing, maintain hand and face hygiene.
Today is World Migratory Birds Day. Environment Minister Prakash Javadekar said in a tweet that India has launched a national action plan for conservation of migratory birds along the Central Asian Flyway. He said saving migratory birds is saving the wetlands and terrestrial habitats and saving of an ecosystem benefiting communities dependent on wetlands. In tennis, Polish teenager Igaswantek has become the new French Open champion. She beat the American Australian Open winner Sofia Kenin in the women's singles final by 6-4, 6-1. The 19-year-old Swantek will earn $1,900,000 for the incredible achievement and moves to 17th position in world ranking. Earlier, Sofia Kenin left the court due to injury and could not play her natural game after returning on the court. In men's singles, Rafael Nadal will take on Novak Djokovic tomorrow. Nadal entered the final beating Diego Schwartzman 6-3, 6-3, 7-6. Djokovic defeated Stefanos Tsitsipas 6-3, 6-2, 5-7, 4-6, 6-1 to set the summit clash with Nadal. Nadal, a 12-time French Open champion, will be aiming to equal Roger Federer's record of 20 Grand Slam titles. In Indian Premier League cricket, Kolkata Knight Riders beat Kings 11 Punjab by 2 runs in Abu Dhabi this evening. Tracing the victory target of 165 runs, the Punjab team could muster 162 runs for the loss of 5 wickets. Skipper KL Rahul's brilliant knock of 74 runs along with another half-century by Mayank Agarwal was not supported by the middle-order batsmen. For KKR, Prasidh Krishna scalped 3 wickets while Sunil Narayan took 2 wickets. Earlier batting first, Kolkata Knight Riders put up a total of 164 runs for the loss of 6 wickets. Dinesh Karthik was the highest scorer with 58, while Shubman Gill contributed by 57. Evan Morgan added 24 runs. In the second encounter, Royal Challengers Bangalore were 117 for 4 in 17 overs against Chennai Super Kings in Dubai when reports last came in.
Now let us take a look at the weather forecast for tomorrow. In the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, the minimum temperature will be 19 degrees Celsius in Jammu, while the maximum will be around 34 degrees. The city will have mainly clear sky. Srinagar will have mainly clear sky. The temperature will hover between 5 and 27 degrees Celsius. In Ladakh, there will be mainly clear skies. The minimum temperature will be -2 degrees Celsius and the maximum will be around 21 degrees. Gilgit will experience partly cloudy sky. The temperature will hover between 9 and 29 degrees Celsius. In Muzaffarabad, there will be mainly clear sky. The minimum temperature will be 13 degrees Celsius and the maximum around 33 degrees Celsius. National capital Delhi will have mainly clear sky. It will have a minimum temperature of 19 degrees Celsius and a maximum of around 36 degrees. In Mumbai, there will be partly cloudy sky with 1 or 2 spells of rain or thunder shower. The minimum temperature will be 27 degrees Celsius and the maximum around 35 degrees.
And now, before we close the bulletin, the headlines once again. Last rites of former Union Minister Ramvilas Paswan performed with full state honours in Patna. Export of essential agri-commodities increases by 43.4% during first half of current fiscal. In Jammu and Kashmir, 4 terrorists killed in 2 separate encounters in South Kashmir. Country's COVID-19 recovery rate improves to more than 85%. In IPL cricket, Kolkata Knight Riders beat Kings 11 Punjab by 2 runs. Match between Chennai Super Kings and Royal Challengers Bangalore underway in Dubai. And Igaswantek is the new French Open Women's Singles champion. And with that, we end the evening news. Good night.